Right, this is Drawing and Talking with Nathaniel Sullivan. Guest today, Patrick, all around awesome dude, and soon to be even more internet famous than he already is. So, how awesome is that?
Yeah, I'm just raking in the publicity
Yeah,
on my
no doubt,
randomness.
no doubt. PewDiePie, the American, the Midwestern version of PewDiePie. Um, so, what we going to discuss briefly. So these are broken up into say 10-minute segments if you've been checking out the channel as you know. So we're going to discuss the mess or the ongoing debacle, or Patrick is going to discuss it with me while I draw, since that's kind of the shtick here. We're going to discuss the ongoing debacle that is GamerGate, and I was going to start out by um, explaining briefly, very briefly, what GamerGate is. As I understand, the impetus for GamerGate is that the significant other, the boyfriend of I think a woman who is a game developer, I don't know, went online and claimed that she was romantically involved with a game journalist, that she was romantically involved with them, and that the suggestion was that they were promoting her game, which I guess is not a traditional sort of game. Um, just the basic notion, the basic charge was that certain game developers were in bed with, literally and figuratively, game journalists, and that game journalism is corrupt. And this is since morphed into, I'm not even sure what it even is in dispute, but just kind of a debacle. I mean, there's a lot of
Well, it's
misogynistic
become it's
comments.
like this
Yeah,
amorphous monster now that kind of brewed from the game developer. I believe she calls herself. Her name is Zoe Quinn, and as
right,
you
right.
said, she was romantically involved with a journalist from Kotaku game website,
And is that, let me,
and
can I ask, is that confirmed? I mean, I had not heard that that was confirmed.
it's confirmed. I
It's
mean, I
confirmed? Okay.
believe there was an actual article put forth by the editor in chief, Stephen Totilio or
Okay.
Totilo.
Okay.
So, but his mission statement or his statement basically was saying that the incident took place long before a situation would arise where it would actually become like a conflict of interest with the review of the game itself. Like it was completely separate. But the point is that there's been this. Because if you go on social media or any
Right.
message board or what have you, you have trolls who will love to start nonsense of just saying, just kind of spitballing of how game journalists are being paid to write certain positive reviews or how there's collusion going on with the developers. And that situation between Zoe and the journalist kind of kickstarted this fuel of giving their nonsense legitimacy. And then from there, it's kind of taken on this form where you have the argument that there is no ethics in journalism,
Right.
plus this uh, this particular this hate, this misogyny and whatnot from gamers rallying against women who want to speak out on behalf of the harassment that they're getting, feeling that they're basically crying wolf, that it's all in their
Huh.
head and
Huh.
they should just kind of more or less walk it off and toughen it out. And
But
but the
that's,
thing is,
yeah.
it's taken on so many negative connotations that to even hashtag Gamergate in your Twitter feed, to even speak about it, you're basically putting a bullseye on your back.
Right, right. But why? But let me ask you. I mean, that's kind of confusing. If the complaints are about misogyny, if the complaints are about harassment, I mean, GamerGate, at least as I understand it, seems to have generated a whole lot of that. I mean, it seems like it's kind of proving the point that the complaints are kind of justified.
Well, the thing is that because there's a subset of people in the Gamergate camp who want to more or less use the Gamergate hashtag as a flag to kind of take back the or make something positive out of the meaning, even
Oh,
though
okay,
it
okay,
stemmed from
okay.
something completely opposite.
Right.
So you have people who want to make valid arguments as to how game reviews and journalists and whatnot, and how their sway and their clout on social media and their presence can sway sales and mind share and the whole like. Um, but again, you have these. How should I put it? You basically have different arguments for different topics, different concerns, different harassments, and they've all kind of melded under this one umbrella.
Yeah.
So there is no one set path or definition as to what Gamergate is, other than the fact that it's just this huge, like boulder from Indiana Jones waiting to crush you.
Yeah, one of the things I'm confused about, or I guess one of the things that I don't really get, and I've heard other people say this, is I don't really understand. There's no real threat from this journalism, right? As I heard someone else say on another podcast, look, nobody's making Call of Duty the nurses, right? Nobody's really like, it's not like Grand Theft Auto is not going to be made. It's not like Call of Duty is not going to be made. It's not like the pretty extreme games are not going to be made. I don't really. What is the? Is there some kind of fear that these sort of games will not be made in the future? Is that part of it, or?
Well, no, it's not necessarily that so much as the fact that I think the leading rally cry is the fact that there's this camp where people have to realize that, for one, with games like Grand Theft Auto or Grand Theft Auto 5 or any other game that has some questionable material as to how females are represented in the games, whether they're completely objectified or this trope of how they're just completely helpless, completely, ditzy, and the whole of being like this thing to acquire, to save, to more or less complement the game that whose overall objective is to kind of encourage this adolescent power fantasy for the gamer. Mm-hmm. So you have those type of gamers playing the games, rallying against more or less other feminist critics and just enthusiasts in general. Like, look, games are changing. The narrative scope of it is changing.
Right.
And you're going to have to get with it or get out of the way. So it's kind of like this balk. There's there's basically like this feud going on of how games are traditionally perceived and crafted for the user versus the evolution that they're taking now. But as of this moment, Gamergate has more or less become this, how can I put it? Because the thing is, there have been situations where not only, what's her name? I want to feel bad for forgetting it. It's Anita Sarkeesian.
Right.
And another designer, Brianna Wu, and the like, and even a male game journalist, Kirk Hamilton of Kotaku, all have been doxxed. Their public information has just been released on the internet, and you have these people, these anonymous people who decide to create these, one-off Twitter accounts just to spew their hate, just to attack them. Because, in my opinion, I think you have people who just want to be destructive. Right. They want to get into the conversation. They just want to create hell. They want to keep it going for their own personal amusement.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you also have people who legitimately have hate in their hearts as to how the whole landscape of gaming journalism and gaming development is taking course.
Right.
Because I'm surprised that this whole thing has even made it so far as to the Colbert Report.
Right.
Because Anita Sarkeesian actually was on there for a good, 8 minutes, 8 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I need to cut this, and we'll go to the next segment. So hold on one sec.